It's good to have you back. Let's bring you this now. The Catholic Church in France has been rocked by a sexual abuse scandal. An inquiry has found 216,000 children were abused by clergymen since 1950. Now, the investigation took over 2 years to complete, and it found the majority of the victims were pre-adolescent boys. The probe found over 3,000 priests, deacons, and other clergymen were responsible. So let's discuss this now with Archbishop Buti Tlhagale from the Southern African Catholic Bishop Conference. Archbishop, thank you so much for your time and good morning to you. We know that for years now, the Catholic Church has denied some of these, claims against the Church, against its deacons, against its clergymen. And now, after a 2-year investigation, these allegations resurface, but also with evidence that there are, of course, claims of, sexual abuse that the Church needs to take very seriously. The Pope also, admitting that this brings a lot of sorrow to learn of this abuse. What's the immediate reaction from yourself?
Good morning. It's probably not new by now. Other countries have gone through this. If you recall, Ireland more recently, America, Canada, and Australia. They also have had this massive investigations of abuse of minors by clergy. And so presumably in France, they hadn't done this digging out to find out exactly what has been happening. So it is still happening, and very upsetting indeed.
Archbishop, why is it happening, and why is it happening under the leadership's watch?
I'm not sure why it's happening. I would probably say it's just human weakness. Earlier on in your own bulletin, you were referring to about South Africa, for example, that there are 35,000 pupils that have been sexually molested, abused in the country, in our schools. So presumably it's the same human weakness. The difference is that with clergy, they take the vow of celibacy, and therefore one expects them to uphold, to live by that commitment. And that is just not happening.
Yeah, I mean,
what has been put in place?
Mm-hmm.
What has been put in place now is that you actually have documents which did not exist before on the integrity of ministry, on the safeguarding of children. These documents are intended not only to educate clergy about their behavior, but also about the criminal offenses they get involved in once they begin to veer off their own personal commitment to the vows.
Archbishop, I mean, I remember early on, while making your point, you mentioned that, other parts of the country, of the world saw the very same thing, but South Africa is not also isolated to this. Back in 2019, we understand that the South African police were investigating 35 cases of sexual abuse of minors by Catholic priests. This in South Africa alone too. And I hear your point about human weakness, but not only is this criminality, but also it brings disrepute to the Church. It brings a disrepute to Christianity as a whole. I suppose my question to you now is, what action will be taken by the Church against those who have been accused, as well as those who have been found guilty?
Well, any abuse of a minor is a criminal offense. So what the Church does when this is reported, either the guardians, the parents, if they don't do it, the bishop in the diocese has to report the matter to the police. So this is a criminal offense. But apart from that, once the criminal offense has gone through the court, the Church has its own procedures of investigation, and eventually this leads to the dispensation of the particular priest who's committed an offense. So that is what the Church is doing. But I think before that, what the Church wants to do now is that every seminarian, everybody who joins the priesthood knows about this, hence the production of documents that addresses the question of moral behavior by clergy.
If I may just come in there, Archbishop, and ask you this. You still have members of the Catholic Church attending. I'm sure under COVID-19 restrictions, that number is limited to adhere to the regulations. You still have minors attending church. Is it safe for minors to attend the Catholic Church with the investigations and the revelations that we have come to know?
It is safe for minors to attend church simply because you now have these regulations in place. And as I said, for example, every diocese or every parish has a person who has been appointed as somebody to whom people have to report should there be a case of this kind. And therefore, as I said, if an allegation is made against a priest, this matter is reported immediately to the police for investigation. So it is, I would say, relatively safe for young people to continue to attend church, because this matter will not be just left to chance. It will be followed up.
We'll leave it there, and I appreciate you speaking to us this morning, Archbishop Tlhagale. Thank you so much for your time.